Welcome. Hi, John. Hello to the Brookville Redevelopment Commission. Let's see if it's working. Okay, welcome everyone to the Brookville Redevelopment Commission, March 23rd, 26th meeting. Victoria, would you like to call to order?
Sure.
The roll call.
In heaven.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I just went to the flag. States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone had the meeting minutes. Is there any questions?
Good job, Vicky. Thank you.
And is there a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes. Second that motion.
Rebecca made the motion to approve. Joyce seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. There is a resolution and notice for the taxing units annually in May. We turn in each May. They were attached to the gateway for the government units. Want to see if everyone reviewed those. And they are due next month before our next meeting. These are what Gina is just getting the secondary approval on from the accountant before she sends them out. And she'd like to see if we can make a motion to acknowledge the commission has reviewed the TIF management report and authorize the treasurer to submit the gateway once everything is finalized. So everybody, if you look those over, if you have any questions, let me know. And if not, if there is a motion.
So where did you start on here?
This on the economic number 5. And then it looks like this, the gateway part there. Where it has mainly the spending, what took place last year.
So this is to review,
We reviewed it and it's a report that is sent.
and we have reviewed, so we're going to just, you're wanting us to, make a motion to have the report sent by Gina.
Once it's cleared by the accountant. Mhm.
I make that motion.
I second.
So Joy.
Joy made the motion.
No, that's fine, yeah.
Joy made the motion to acknowledge the management report and the clerk can submit it to the state once it's finalized.
And I second that.
And Becky seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. And you all have the financials statements. You can see where it went into the Indiana Trust. Is there any questions on the funds update? Which they really haven't changed much since last month on that. You notice that the 4,600 was paid for trees painting for the removal of the of the items, so the redevelopment starting. Is there any questions on that? Okay. One thing I'd like to do is we have Mr. Gary in here and his family. And thank you for all being here. And that's special. We get the whole family. You're lucky. He's like, yeah. So before we get them started, because I want to make sure we have full amount of time to ask questions and listen to everything. I want to go over a couple of letters of support to vote on before he begins, if that's okay with you, to kind of change that around a little bit what we're doing here. The letters of support are for the opportunity zone. We've talked about that for the last couple of months. The opportunity zone it's a letter of recommendation that the redevelopment is in favor for the opportunity zone to come back to Brookville. We are not responsible for that. That is for another group to turn that in. It also does not cost us money, but can bring that opportunity for businesses or to come into this area if somebody would like to spend their money and have a get tax-free tax incentives for that. The big beautiful bill passed it that for the new opportunity zone, they have to submit everything this year in July to be in the field by the state, by Mr. Braun, to then decide who is in the opportunity zone and who is not. So I wanted to see, do we want to make a motion to send a letter of support for the opportunity zone? Or if there's any other conversation.
I would say we do want to send a letter of support. Yeah, I would be agreeable with that, definitely.
So I make the motion to go ahead and send a letter.
And we have been part of that before.
Yes, we currently are in the opportunity
Yeah.
zone right now. Yes.
Did you second that?
I motion.
Oh, and she seconded.
Rebecca made a motion. Joy, you seconded?
Oh,
Or did somebody
Rebecca,
second?
you motion
Oh.
and she second. No? Okay.
well, yeah, because I would be the one who moved. No, I didn't say I motioned it. Did you say?
I did.
Okay, so now.
Rebecca, enjoy.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Yes.
Rebecca made a motion. Joy seconded it. Is there any other comments? Okay, then all in favor of the opportunity zone for a letter of support, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The next thing I'd like to bring over, the facade grant program I'm sorry, not the facade grant, the Heritage and Harmony Trail Ready 2.0 for that grant paperwork is due on April 15th. I have asked also for several letters of support from local businesses and entities, and they are coming in, so that's very nice. There's no updates on that grant. It'll be in by April 15th. I did get a couple of bids, mainly to see what the condition of the roof was. Todd Thackeray, the architect, needed to know that for the plans. And the furnace was the big one. So we have big numbers and we know what they are. So, but everything is going to be April 15th. It's pretty crazy, but it's getting done. It looks great. Right now, it's going to go in all together as a whole 5 region area for this grant. So wanted to bring that part up. The next was a request for letter of recommendation for the Third Place Wildlife Trust. And I sent that information. It is the Research and Discovery Park. It also is part of that trail situation with Harmony and Heritage and Harmony and working together. So they requested a letter of support as well, as the town of Brookville is a huge part of that, with Amos Butler being one of the town founders. And also he came up with a book with the bird sanctuary with the birds, historical book, and that is also a big part of this. So they're just asking for a letter of support for the Third Place Wildlife Trust, which also they are supporting us and
So there's
by the
connections
newspapers.
from the founding fathers creating a book and then a bird sanctuary.
Mhm.
And so it's all connected with the Heritage and Harmony Trail. It sounds
Yes,
wonderful. Another wonderful opportunity for Brookville.
yes. For visitors coming in, another reason to come into this area. So their request was for the letter of support from Redevelopment, which I had attached it to the email on there. Is there any questions from anyone on that? Is there a motion for that letter to be sent?
One second, that motion.
Vicky made a motion for the letter of support for that trail, and Joy seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say aye. Motion passes. The Brookville Comprehensive Plan, we're just awaiting the final paperwork. That's all we're doing. So I would think that's going to be out by next month. So I'd like to say that's what they said, but I want to make sure I'm not holding them to the fire there. So those are kind of the updates I wanted to bring up. The other thing is the facade grant program, public outreach, and I wanted to talk to our members about that to make sure that, we're letting anybody and everybody know that that grant is available. It's a 50% on the facade. The paperwork is found on the website under Town of Brookville Redevelopment. They have really nice, it's a great setup again on that website on how to get to it, how to get to the application. So just kind of want to make sure you guys encourage others that we have that program for that. So next, I want to introduce Mr. Dustin Garing, the superintendent of Franklin County Community Schools. And we're excited to have you here.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you for having me and give a bit of an introduction, because I've met many of you, but maybe we haven't had that deeper conversation. My name is Dustin Gary, and I am the superintendent over here at Franklin County Community School Corporation. With me tonight is a portion of my family, because we are rather large. My wife, Jo, is with me tonight, and so we were going to make a bit of a date night of this. And then these two boys found out that we're heading over to Dairy Cottage, and before you know it, two became four. Very quickly, because they don't miss that opportunity. So we'll be heading that way here in just a little bit. We don't miss an opportunity to head that way. So my story here, and I'll just take a moment to kind of tell that, it goes back quite a few years. So my father we'd come here and boat with my father along the way. And when he passed, we took the boat on. And so for many years, and still now, we would come to the lake, having no idea that this would be a place of employment at any point, just enjoying the space. And of course, as is the theme, Dairy Cottage was always a part of that conversation every single time. But we spent many afternoons and early evenings just when the bugs came out there on the lake, and we enjoyed every bit of that. Here in the county, I also have my sister-in-law and her husband. Then they have a couple of kids that have gone through in our program, our schools now. Again, having no idea that there'd be a connection at some point. about a year and a half ago, just a little bit longer than that, I began my superintendent search, and not knowing this was going to be on the radar, went a couple places, and I'm thankful that I came in second in those places because I didn't know what was coming. And so when this opportunity showed up, because my sister-in-law actually said something to us about, hey, we think there might be an opportunity here. And it was an exciting connection. And so to get landed here, I was at graduation of Coleraine High School. We were on the M's, and I got the call to say yes, that this was going to be the place to land. And so for the last year and a half, it has been a whirlwind of a lot of amazing things, and ultimately some changes along the way as I brought some experiences that I've had to the corporation. And of course, I've learned what they do here as well. They do some amazing things. The thing I'll tell you that I learned quickly and has been the most important thing is the way that our teachers love on these kids. It is incredible to see the way in which they care for them. It's at a different level than I've experienced in other places. Just a really special connection along the way. And there's a lot of amazing things that happen here too. And I don't think people talk enough about that. The amazing opportunities that our kids have. And I'll give you just a small example. The other night I was at iStar, and another corporation stood up and they had a student come over to the mic who was nominating a teacher. And they were like, this is our first associate's degree. And I said, as I sat there and I thought, well, we have 28 this year alone. And so to know that we have this opportunity here that not everyone else has is pretty incredible for our kids, and also just the programming, all the opportunities that we have, the clubs, the sports, the groups, the activities. It's just, it's an incredible place. I say this often when I get a microphone in front of me, which I seek out microphones quite a bit because I like them a lot. But what I say a lot is that if you're not with us, you're missing it. You're missing it because there are some incredible things happening right here at Franklin County Community School Corporation long before I got here, but we've been able to add on to that, myself and my team. And so I'm a year and a half in. I feel like I'm fully landed, and they're my team now, and it's been really great to make some of the shifts and changes that we've been able to make, and a lot of great things as well that we've been able to take hold of. I come here tonight to say thank you for the partnership, because we've been a part. You may not know all the partnerships that we've had, but we've had some partnerships along the way. Some of these things where I was thinking we'd be a couple years deep before we started it, and all of a sudden, the dollars showed up, and all the stars aligned, and so we took off with a couple of those things. Before I got here, this commission, the commission where the money is coming in here, the community foundation is landing dollars in there to say yes to different ideas for the corporation. Before I got here, they worked on the website. They made a lot of changes that way. But then once I got here, we continued that journey on. One of the ways that we've done is something called a portrait of a learner. And I'm going to pass this down in case you haven't had a chance to see it. Thank you. So the portrait of a learner that's coming your way is essentially the ideas of what do we want our graduates to walk away from us with? What is important? And so over the series of meetings where we had community members, teachers, different business owners, we came together and we began to pick some of these competencies around what is important here at FC. You'll notice here that none of this is about test taking, because this is all about those soft skills that we know that we want our students to leave us with. An easy example is how to give a handshake, how to look someone in the eye and speak to them. These are soft skills that are so critical to their future employment. But you'll see a series of those, including adaptability, communication, and things of that nature. On the back side of that, you'll actually see some of the definitions that the team invested in. These were not just copy-paste definitions. We went through and said, what does this mean to you? What does this mean here at FC? And so we were able to go down and boil that down to what does it mean right here? And then, of course, we wanted to have a summary statement at the bottom so that anyone that did a quick look over, they can say, this is what this means, and this is what they're aiming at. A lot of these projects end up just sitting on a shelf somewhere, but that's not my style, and that's not what we do. So since developing this with teachers and community members and business and administrators and everyone in between, once this thing was finalized and polished, we began a journey called Portrait to Practice, and we are still in that journey now. And that is where our teachers begin to define when, where, and how will we do these things on purpose? It cannot be by accident. We can't just say it's a pass by moment. Oh, we just do that every day. No, we're going to name these things, name the times, name the places and the spaces so that our kids are developing these things. And so what's coming in August is a pretty significant plan around what grade levels are taking on what challenges, which are the competencies in particular, and what does it look like to work on that. And so on purpose, a fourth grader would be working on communication skills. But what does that mean? Well, we're going to do it through this particular project. Maybe they're going to give a speech, or they're going to do a research paper and then have to talk to a neighbor about it. And those type of things are just on purpose. Because if you don't make a plan, it just kind of fizzles away, right? And so the portrait to practice, it's a year journey. It's a year on purpose. We're not late in the game. We're actually right on time. We were able to leverage portions of our waiver days. So when I got here, I noticed that essentially we are a professional development desert here. We don't have a lot of time for our teachers to learn the new strategies and all the things that are out there. And I'm just not used to that. I come from a place where these guys go to school where it's almost too many PD days, but we have none here because of the way that the state structured the calendar year, the school year. And so I asked for a waiver and I got 3. So 3 days each year for the next 3 years, this year included. We're going to spend time working on strategies for the classroom, catching up to what the rest of the world's been doing in this world. And so we've already been doing that. And so a portion of each of those days was dedicated to the portrait to practice. The other portions of the day were dedicated to 2 things. I was very clear with my administrative team. One is classroom culture, whether it be trauma-informed practices or just looking at good behavior management, or you name the thing. And the other one was great instructional practices, really looking at what does the great classrooms look like, and how can we ensure that our teachers understand that and how to get to there. We have fantastic teachers. They're incredible. But I do notice that we have some room for strategies. We have some new strategies that are out there that we can add, and we're doing just that. So one example is pushing towards more student collaboration, getting kids to talk to each other consistently. Those are developing, again, those soft skills. It all ties right back into the portrait. And so that's the work we've been doing. And so we've had 3 of those days. This August, we're going to be kicking that off with a full-fledged, here we go, with the portrait kind of being the plate in which everything else builds on. We're not putting one more thing on the plate. This becomes the plate in which everything else builds. In addition to that, you guys also supported the work around Mr. Daniel Ward. You may have seen a bit of an uptick in the quality of our Facebook posts, because before him, it was just me, and that was not good. And so we've been able to add him on at an hourly rate where he actually develops a lot of our content. So anything that you look at that and say, wow, that's an incredible post, that was Daniel, guaranteed, because he's done some incredible work. And so that role of the communication and media relations coordinator, excuse me, we did interviews, we sat down, we talked about vision and where we're going with this, and then we were able to connect Daniel to that position. And since then, we meet once a week, or we are scheduled to meet once a week. Sometimes things get in the way on my calendar or his, but we meet often, and we talk about, what are we doing, what's our plan as far as our communication strategies, what are we working on? So it's not just on a whim. It's not just like, oh, I was at a football game and I captured a moment. There's a clear vision as to what we're doing and how we're doing it. The goal is to get more and more people to talk about the great things that are happening. An example of kind of where we're going from here is I'm working with my SLT, which are strategic leadership team, my central office personnel, and then soon my principals, and then soon also the board over the summer. And we're doing a kind of what does success look like in the area of communications? What does success look like in the area of community relations? My SLT and I sat down, we went through the series of this already, and I was really surprised by their answer. I thought for sure they were going to speak about being either neutral or maybe being a bit resistant as to how the community might be feeling about the corporation. But they said, boy, in the last year and a half, we have seen an incredible change, that we're actually seeing something very different about being very supportive of the corporation, seeing really great things. They like to tease me because it's because of my snow posts, but I don't know why that would be the thing. But for sure, they bring those up often. But the piece that they identified, which is what we're chasing now, where we're going from here, because we're not done, we're never going to be done. is looking at the silent majority, the silent supporters that are out there they're all in favor of what we're doing, but they're almost being drowned out by the 5% of people who are a bit negative, right? And they want to say negative things. So how do we uplift those folks to make them out there being our advocate, getting on either this chatter or that chatter? And don't worry, this is not the only place that has the chatters. My neighborhood has them as well. And of course, that's of course where any negative post can land, and that's very normal. But getting people out there to be the ambassadors of the corporation and say, hold on, what you're saying doesn't make sense. That's not true. That's not actually happening. In fact, I talked to Dustin just the other day, and I know this, or this. Or even better, one of my favorite things is, have you called Dustin? Have you talked to him about that? Because I can guarantee he'll make time for you. So we're pushing that way as we're heading that way to make more Daniel Awards, so that there are more folks out there advocating for the things that we're doing. One of the pieces that Daniel and I have been working on, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an inside track, we've been dropping some Easter eggs along the way, but you'll start to notice some of our posts ending with the tagline of SCCSC, we are on the rise. And so looking at this kind of campaign as we head into the fall of we are on the rise. And so Dan has done a great job of developing a logo, and we're going to begin to push this concept because we truly are on the rise. It is absolute truth that we are increasing in all aspects of the game. And so I'm just very proud of the work that we're doing. And Daniel's a big part of that. And so this team here helps support that financially, along with the Franklin County Redevelopment Commission coming together by putting funds into the community foundation. And we're able to pull those funds for that rate. Where do we go from here? So we have some, I'm always going to have the next thing. No, not to worry. There's always one more thing coming, not to worry. And so I'll give you a bit of an inside track as well. We are going to be bringing in the fall, the very first one in Indiana, which is the Drug-Free Clubs of America. So this is nowhere in the state of Indiana, but my good friend, Julia Martini, that her and I worked together at White Oak Middle School. She was the counselor, I was the principal. She retired and went off to work for this company. And she said, when I called her, she said, I knew you'd call me at some point. I knew you were going to bring this there. And for sure, we're going to. And so the Drug-Free Club of America is coming next school year. And what this does, it incentivizes those who are making the best choices. In our current model, we penalize those who get caught. If you're an athlete, you get caught, there's outcomes for that. And that's not changing. But the thing we're not doing well is saying, hey, thank you for making a great choice. Hey, thank you for walking the path the way we want you to. And so this program looks a little bit different. Same idea with testing and things of that nature. Kids sign up to be voluntarily to be in the club. Some of them, I'm sure, will be voluntold by their parents, but just the same, they'll be a part of that. And so when they are able to maintain that clean test, they're in the club. And in the club means that their app turns on. And when their app turns on, they're going to be able to have a lot of different incentives around town as well as in the school that only they're going to be able to do. So I'll give you a small example. And this work is getting taken care of through the Staying Alive group. So we're pushing that along through Brittany Lures and that whole group there. So in the school, you might have a particular day where, like, hey, everyone who's in the club is going to come down to the incentive room, going to go in, grab chips, grab a drink. Hey, thanks for being in the club. That's how you got in. Or there may be a social activity. Only those in the club can get in. You get the idea. But then we hit the streets, right? I want you to imagine that third place says, and they've already said that they would, that when a kid walks in, they show they're in the app, that they're going to get a free piece of pizza every time that they show up with the app turned on. If they were ever to have their app turned off because there's testing that continues, then that's just between them, their parents, and the company. The school's not involved at all. We actually never receive those results, but their app essentially turns off. And so it just means they just won't be eligible for those incentives until the next round comes back around and they can get back in the club. It's a redemption story as well, which I'm always a big fan of. So this is all happening, right? This is coming in the fall, and we're starting that planning now around things like this. But this is not all that we're doing. We're still doing all the things you can imagine all along the way, because what's happening in the classroom is critical. That's where the crack of the bat is. That's where everything is. The most important place in a school is the classroom. It's not the office. A lot of people think it's the office because that's where the celebrities sit, okay? And we come in and we do these numbers in parades, and I get that, but it's in the classroom. That is actually where the most important space is. And so there's some exciting things happening around that as well. I'm sure if you've tuned into our board meetings, you may have heard some conversations, but the best conversations are still coming as to what's happening next and how we're supporting great instruction in the classroom and really seeing everything come together. So it's an exciting time at FCCSC. I'm thrilled to be here. I really am. I'm a year and a half in. I'm just getting started. I'm just really getting started with what we're doing and what's happening. And I just can't wait to see where we go from here. And it's the support of a group like this, as well as the Franklin County Redevelopment, by saying yes with those funds when you can. That 15% is very much appreciated, and we're able to work that. I cannot help myself. I do have to talk about one thing if it's okay. There's always a conversation about TIFs in schools, right? This is always a conversation that happens, and I often get asked my opinion, and then they put a little blip on a report, and they're like, "Oh, see, Dustin said this." The thing of the matter is, right now, we have great support. We have great relationships with our redevelopment commissions on both sides. We really do. We're so blessed as a corporation. Um, Everything I've asked for, people have found a way to say yes. I mean, and I cannot complain about that at all. It's incredible. I will always ask the same thing whenever possible. Keep the corporation whole in these decisions. It's a part of the TIF process. You can keep the corporation whole. I will always ask that every time. That doesn't mean that we're on opposite sides of something. It just means that, of course, I'm gonna keep saying that. Doesn't mean I'm not thankful. I'm incredibly thankful, but I'm always gonna kind of plug that in there because what is good for FC is good for the community, right? What is good for our schools is good for the community. We know there's a great relationship, but I also know, please don't miss this part, that there are certain projects that just can't happen without TIF dollars, and I understand that. I truly do, and so I get it. But I'm always going to ask that little bit, which is, can you keep us whole? Is it possible? It's not always possible, and that's okay. I do understand. I'm thankful for what I get, which I get a chance to stand here and talk to you about the great things that are happening. We get to have an advocate um, uh, with Kevin to have a voice at the table, and ultimately, thus far, you've said yes to everything I've asked, and so let's keep doing that. I like that works out really well. But ultimately, that's always the conversation along the way as well. So that's a lot, right? And that's typical of me. But what questions did I create for you that I can answer?
I do want to say something that I think that you came in here and it's so much to learn, right? All these new people, all these different communities, and it is. I do believe it's on the rise. And to know that we're here. If you want to have a meeting, sit down, what are some other ideas or opportunities that we can do along with the county redevelopment too? The nice part is we're both right here.
Sure.
So that's really helpful for you guys. But I know that we we would love we love to be able to help the school, and that is definitely our goal.
Sure.
So I've really been in the opportunity to, I think it was the College Coalition.
Yeah.
And my gosh, that was probably one of the best meetings I have been to in years. I mean, I really didn't know what I was walking into. And I was just, it was impressed. It was impressive. All the teachers and the counselors, like that was their kid. They truly believed in it. And I know those kids have also helped me in my business and still are with me, and they are great kids, and there's just not enough said about that, how great the programs you have at that school. So
When you think about early college, it's different here than it is other places. It's a tagline lots of places, but here it sits different because even as the grant went away to support some of the dual credit instruction, we put money back in, right? We put money right where our mouth was. We pulled money from the budget of the corporation, and said this can't go away. And so we set money aside to continue to help teachers to get their credentials to be duly certified. We continue to push to put money into the students when they need to take a class that we don't offer so they can earn their associate's degree. We kept saying yes to this program. It's not going away anytime soon. There's a lot of fear that when the grant went away, it would fizzle. It is not fizzling, not in any way, shape, or form, and I won't let it fizzle. It's too important to the work that we do. And so If you looked at our high school staff, you'd be amazed at the number of teachers that went out and said, yes, I will get, do additional classes. I'll do these things or that things to become dual certified so we can have these opportunities. It just is different here. It really is. And I haven't yet done it because I've been doing a lot of other things. But when I pull into town, I notice on our sign, it's a very small portion of the sign that says early college, but it's such a big thing that we do. We'll be fixing that soon. It just has been on the radar because I drive past it every morning and I think it's bigger than that. It's certainly bigger than that little portion of the sign, but we'll get there. But the program's not going away anytime soon. Any other questions or comments?
I do have, the drug-free club,
Yeah,
is that, uh, all of the teachers are involved in that, just predominantly the high school, I would think,
it's a great question.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's at the high school. There'll be a club sponsor, and that club sponsor essentially helps to organize things. It's primarily pushed through the students. So there'll be a group of advocates that the club committee, if you will, of students that'll come together and they'll decide what the incentive packages are. What do kids want that we want to make sure that we're encouraging, whether it's a bag of Takis or this kind of Gatorade or you name the thing, right? What is the thing in school, but then also outside of school? Like, is the movie theater important? Who's going to go knock on that door, right? Is it important to have Skyline on board or Arby's on board? Like, those are the things that the kids will help decide. But really, the adult portion of it, it's smaller. And it actually works a little bit better because it's not, sometimes it's death by committee, but we can keep that thing small and make some big decisions. Yeah.
Now, do the parents have to agree for their children to be in this club?
Yes, they do. Yes. So parents will sign off because there's some testing that gets done along the way. We would never do that without consent, of course. But yeah, we'll be kicking that off in the fall, and I'm sure that signups will be really strong here. But the goal is always about 20% of your high school population to say yes to the club. I think we're going to do a little bit better than that, but that's what their goal really is. But I don't think they know us and what we do here. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I want to ask, for learner that I'm sure it starts kindergarten through 12th. Okay, this is just so important. You can have students who are so academically, have such a high academic ability, but forever if they don't look at you in the eye and how to present themselves. And we have issues with that sometimes in some of our communities, that development of those characteristics. So I think that's wonderful. And is this a program that exists, or is this something that was created by you, or is it an established curriculum?
Great question. So I did this work when I was at Northwest, along with a team of other folks through an organization called Battelle for Kids. They actually do these nationwide. And so when I landed here and realized that we didn't have one here, and it's not really strong in the state of Indiana, there are others in Indiana who have it. In fact, the DOE has one as well, but it just really hasn't taken off here. But when I got here, I knew that at some point we'd be doing this work. I didn't know it'd be so soon, but when the dollars show up, you just say, yes, let's go. And so we did. The content that you see on that paper is ours. So that content is FC through and through, whether it's the competencies that we chose. Of course, the art that you see on the front, that was all decided by that committee. Even the color of the tractor, that was a conversation along the way, because the committee made all those decisions. You'll see that in the background, you'll see the dam that's there. And of course, everything that with the town and all the pieces there, all that was driven by the committee. And even the definitions, we went through and defined what's important to you. What do you want this to say about this competency? And so there was so much influence. Then we took all that, right? And you take it from big to small and start doing the work and wrestling with it. And then we put it back in front of people and they said, okay, I like this or I don't like that. Some of it was a bit wordy. And so we shifted that a little bit as well. And so the content is ours through and through. The idea has been around for a bit. You see a lot of these in Ohio, where I come from, and the work I did at Northwest, along with a team of other folks.
Like that you're clarifying that you're going to have this purposeful, you're going to have it's established And it's not, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna make eye contact and look, when we're walking down the hall, that it's gonna be a set purpose and established for each grade level.
Yes.
And then I want to point out something you said that I think is so important, is that our teachers, in which we have wonderful teachers, that they love on their children. And I know for a fact how much, and I know our high school loves and supports, but I know more of the lower level. They do love their children so much.
Yes.
And I do love your snow reports.
Sure. Sure.
And
Absolutely.
it's like, I still look and say, is there going to be snow tomorrow? We're gonna have snow. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do enjoy them. I like them.
I'm sure you enjoy the fact that you don't have to worry. You get to turn it off. And doesn't change anything for you, of course. But thank you for your years of service, of course, as well.
But no, it still triggers. I still like, do we need to do the snow dance? Oh, it's like, yeah. There's a
Yes.
Snow dance out there that you guys don't know about.
There's also spoons underneath the pillow, pajamas inside out, flushing ice cubes. Not that these kids have ever done any of those things along the way, but yes, there's certainly ways to influence the weather. For me, and I don't enjoy the other side of this, which is the flood days are really concerning. It's scary. Yeah. Yeah.
There's some flood dance. But
Yeah,
no,
there's,
it has been really scary and,
Yeah.
I noticed it's children's safety first.
Yeah. I have an incredible team of people around me. And so whether by the time I get here, I'm landing in the area around 4:15-ish on a day that we got to check roads, but I already got a team out, right? They're already doing it. They're already checking. They're just great that way. And they know exactly where to check. I'm a systems person. And so we've developed a list of most concerning roads and how many buses that it impact, and then how many kids does that impact. And so there may be a point where we have to cancel this route, but all other routes can run, and we will do so. But we got it down in the weeds that far, right? That we know how impactful different roads really are. And but I got a good team around me. Honestly, I'm very blessed. Yes. Other comments or questions? Okay.
I sub at the school, and I can certainly vouch that the teachers there are amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone that I've had any contact with was just amazing. But I'm sure it was just an oversight, but you forgot to mention how wonderful the subs are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's interesting you say that. I interview all of our subs because I knew that we had a bit of a shortage. And so instead of allowing anybody else to get this thing moving, I interview every single one of them. We sit down, talk about what's the plan, and we proceed. And one of the things I tell them is you have to finish your paperwork, because a lot of times we get that step, but we don't get the next step, which is like, we got to finish all this. But we could not run without our substitute teachers, as well as our substitute aides. We could not run without you. So thank you so much. And don't be afraid to come down to the elementary school. I know you're a secondary person, but the elementary school is not scary. It's okay. Yeah, they even accept me, and I've never taught a day in elementary school, but I get welcomed in there as well. So please come down there. But yes, our subs are incredible. Yes. Well, I just have one more thing, and I'll give you the time back if that's okay. One of the things that we've kicked off, and I know there's folks watching on YouTube. We have the We Are on the Rise Business Partnership Program. Least level, a Wildcat fan is that, are you willing to display our sticker? So we have a window cling that we give to a business, and that just means that they said yes. Yes, we'll display your sticker, and that just shows a bit of unity. Doesn't cost them anything other than a little space on their window. After that, any contribution that they BIS. And for other people, it's think of like the prizes you win for doing the right thing, right? That type of stuff. I gave my principals an unfunded mandate in August, said you will have PBIS, you will have this plan, you will have these incentives, and they're like, how will we pay for it? I said, I'll figure that out soon. and so in January we kicked this thing off, and already to see a number of businesses say yes. It's been incredible. I actually got to hold a really big check. I've never held a really big check before. It kind of reminded me as a kid when we would watch TV, there would be the sweepstakes that, that they'd show up and you'd have the big check. They didn't let me keep it, which I really wanted to keep it, but it landed somewhere else. But this is a great program. And so for $250, you can be a Wildcat booster. That every dime of that goes to our kids, and it goes all the way up to 3,000 to be a partner. We've had a couple of companies say yes at the $3,000 level, which is just incredible. It's just absolutely incredible to say yes at that level. But anything's incredible, anything at all. We're just so very thankful for. So if anyone's watching, if you guys know any businesses that you're connected with, we are always looking for more partnership in that way. Every dime goes back to the kids, every single one. And so they're able to build those incentive programs. So that's been an exciting kickoff for us this year. I'll wrap up with this. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the support all the way. Sorry it took us so long to get together, but I'm just very thankful for the partnership. Thank you for the future yeses, right? As new ideas and things like that come up. If you guys have any ideas, it's not always about my ideas. It's what else is out there. Just send me an email. We'll get together or whatever it looks like and talk about what is the next step for Franklin County, particularly around the schools portion of Franklin County, but in Brookville as well. Just so blessed to have a great community of support around. I felt it from the moment I got here, and I continue to feel it. And it's just an exciting time. And to wrap up with just simply this, we are Franklin County, and we are on the rise. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time
Thank
today.
you. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, hang on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's it.
Mhm. Okay, there were not any invoices, no invoices at this time, so we don't need to go over that. The next meeting is Monday, April 27th, the fourth Monday of each month. And if there is nothing else, we can adjourn. Do you have something, Kevin?
I'll add one thing.
Yes, please do.
For Dustin. I'm impressed by the accessibility of not just him, but the entire administration. And it's not just the kids, it's anybody here. The only one I think I can speak for sure to is Rita. You've had some dealings with Dustin in the school. But they're out and about and they're willing to communicate and work with whoever. Just my example, early on, my son, who's 9, corrected me and informed me that his name is Mr. G. So he knew who he was. And I actually just got a text the other day from the assistant superintendent that she saw my son in the school and he actually said hi and talked to her. Like they know who these people are and they are not afraid to talk to them as students, and we shouldn't be either as the adults in the room. So thank you.
I would agree. The stories I hear of that is just nonstop. It's just not said enough. It's just not said enough how awesome they are.
I'm so excited for children.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much to be proud of.
We do.
We do.
Nice. If there is nothing else, would we have a motion? Is there a motion to adjourn? Joy made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Becky seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All those that do not want that to happen, shh. Say aye. All motion passed. Motion passed. We are done. Thank you, everyone.